Germany was a recipient of aid after the Second World War. So was Japan, so was South Korea, so was Malaysia, or even famous Singapore. They all received aid. But there's something special about them, which is they all, without exception, graduated from being aid recipients within 20 years. By the time those 20 years were over, they were actually giving aid to other people. But Africa, 60 years later, Africans are negotiating on a global stage the next form of aid they think they want to be getting. Why is it that we are not able to graduate from aid? In the past, we used to blame colonialists, but today, the threat to African economies or destruction of African economies by Africans, the sabotage of our own economies by Africans is on the rise. And I think that we cannot keep making the same mistakes and expecting different outcomes or better results. We need to get our act together. I think it's possible for Africa to rise, but it won't do so until we get organized and we work differently.
When some of us talk, you guys will think that we just want to talk. We are just being unnecessarily emotional. We are being political. But that's the point. You just heard him now. And then you imagine like a country that is giant of Africa, Nigeria, supposed giant of Africa, will be running to take over alignment, bilateral relationship with France, where the countries that are supposed to be Francophone countries that are dealt with this country for years are washing their hands off them. How do we grow? Just a few years ago, China had the Industrial Revolution that started in 1988. I go and check. They put in effort, opened up to international economy, and begin to domesticate their own industrializations and ensure that they were giving and all of this. So I ask, how prepared are we for any of this takeover? I agree that we are in a phase, but in this phase we are in, what are we building for that eventual takeover industrialization that will make us dependent? As a country, Nigeria is supposed to be giving aid equally, just the way America is giving aid, because we have the potential, but we have consistently and consequently elected those as leaders in this country that do not even have the powers to pay service rendered, let alone taking the country to an industrial era. And then if we talk, you guys want to make fuse of all of these things. And when are we going to? Is now Nigeria is going to seek France? The other day I heard, so it will every little aid that is available in this world, Nigeria and African countries, they are all over. We are yet to sit to ask ourselves. Unfortunately, when President Olusegun Obasanjo was in office, where he was seeking for a partnership for African development, seeking for African unity, seeking for better, we had a lot of dunce African leaders that did not see what he was seeing. And now some of those countries in Africa have stood up. The giant of Africa that is supposed to help in midwifing that era now has a replica of those kind of presidents in our country at the moment. And then we are not sitting. We cannot do anything. We cannot even feed ourselves at the moment. Country cannot feed itself. Country cannot run as a country. We are bedwetting. We are stranded and depressed as a country. Country that is only years backward, and nobody is bothered about how do we help. Trump is the problem. Everybody is complaining, oh, Trump is cutting aid. Oh, Trump is cutting aid. Well, I'm not a fan of Trump. I've never been. Ask my friends that support Trump. I've never been. But the fact that the man has came and he said he's cutting off aid, as long as it makes Africa to look inward and begin to create Africanized solutions for the African problems, then I'm 100% involved. I support it. A few countries, China, Malaysia, all of these countries, all of them were once in the same cage as Nigeria. Can Nigeria meet with them? Can Nigeria compete with them in any level at the moment? When are we going to sit to begin to build the foundation for the industrialization we are seeking? We still cannot have power. We still cannot have quality systems and services. We still cannot tell ourselves that we have a country. We still do not have a qualitative educational system, not healthcare, not power, not roads, not quality infrastructures that I beg.